Alrighty, welcome to the July 5th, 2026. Hey, it's been so much fun. Council meeting, please silence your cell phones for the duration of the meeting. Tonight's invocation and pledge will be led by Mr. Bobby Phillips. Please stand.
Please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, excuse me, as we go into the 250th year of our nation's birth, we humbly ask that a degree of calm and reflection come over our world and our nation to reflect on the positive nature of the founding and acknowledge all of the mistakes that we have made over that time period, looking to move forward and correct the mistakes that we have made. I pray these words in your honor. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Knight, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Schilling?
Present.
Mrs. Marshall? Here. Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Mrs. Snee? Here. Mr. Twist?
Here.
Mrs. Westfall?
Here.
Mr. Whidden?
Here.
Ms. Hickman?
Here.
Mr. Sievert?
Move to excuse Mr. Sievert.
Second. Motion to move to excuse Mr. Sievert by Mrs. Snee, seconded by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mr. Sievert is excused.
Thank you. Our first order of business, so we have an induction and oath of office for new firefighter EMT.
We do.
Mayor and the chiefs.
I think this is the first time I've seen you in a full uniform, Joe.
Yeah. But council, yes, we do have a new firefighter. We'll turn him around so you can face his lovely family in a second. But this is Joe Schricker. He is a 2018 graduate of Troy High School. He was one of our apprentices in 2025. Him and his family, I know his wife sacrificed a lot for Joa. He was a little bit older than some of our apprentices, so it was a little bit of a sacrifice for Joa to decide to take on the apprenticeship and be a part-time employee for the city during that time frame. I do want to point out that as far as the hometown apprenticeship, we have a scholarship fund set up through the Troy Foundation. And I know Mr. Sievert is not here tonight, but his father passed away about 3 years ago, and he started a fund in honor of his father's name, and Joe was one of the first recipients of that to help pay for some of his schooling. So wanted to acknowledge, I know he's not here, but we're very thankful for that. So, but without further ado, he was one of our 2025 apprentices. Graduated the State of Ohio Fire Academy Firefighter Level 2, as well as then the State Fire Academy EMS. So he is now a Certified Firefighter Level 2, as well as an EMT Basic. So he just told me he's so excited to get ready to start paramedic school. But no, that's our Hometown Hero apprenticeship program it's been very fruitful, and we're very thankful and congratulations. And I know it's been a lot of hard work. You got some work left. But we're so excited to have you, Joe. Thank you.
Everybody who's been through firefighter school is laughing over here. It's Joa, not Noah. So it took me a while to get that through my head that it was not Noah.
Yeah.
Joa with a J. So, stand right here. I'm going to hold it. Why don't you introduce your family?
Here's my mom right there,
With the camera.
my little brother Grayson, little sister Ellie, my older sister McKenna, and then my beautiful wife Kamora.
Nice to meet you. All right. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joa Schricker,
I, Joe Schricker,
solemnly swear that I will support and defend
solemnly swear that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the state of Ohio
and the state of Ohio
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
both foreign and domestic,
both foreign and domestic,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties.
discharge my duties
This word's not right on here. As firefighter of the city of Troy,
as firefighter of the city of Troy
under the appointment of the department,
under the appointment of the department
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
according to the laws of the state of Ohio,
to the best of my skills and abilities,
to the best of my skills and abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Here's your helmet.
Yep. Picture time with family or whatever.
You guys just go back here. Just kind of line up right there in front of you. Do you want to get me?
She does it all, Mayor. Photographer.
Yeah, just scooch back against that wall a little bit, and we'll get you all in here. Do you want to be back? One, two, three. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been like 2 months. I just keep forgetting.
Like when you're here.
2-1, 2 what? Clear 3-4, see how it is? And then get on business. I've never done that, and I can start all the stuff short again. Just gotta actually make a call.
Our second item on the agenda tonight is a public hearing for the 2027 tax budget. I declare the public hearing open. Anybody like to comment?
Need to read the title.
You gotta read it first, that's right.
The public hearings on the tax budget resolution adopting the budget of the city of Troy, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2027 and declaring an emergency.
Now it's open. Anybody like to come up and make comments on that? Please come to the podium. Typical name and address, make your comments, and we'll go from there. Seeing that everyone's sprinting down, no comments from anybody, then we will close the public hearing and move on. Mrs. Knight, will you please read the summary of the minutes of June 15th meeting, please?
Minutes of Council, June 15, 2026. Committee reports. Community and Economic Development Committee recommended that legislation be prepared accepting the final plat of the reserves at Cliff Oak Subdivision Phase 3. Finance Committee recommended legislation be prepared authorizing the bidding for the Internet and telephone provider for city facilities. That legislation be prepared authorizing the auditor to bid for depository agreements, and that legislation be prepared as provided by the Ohio Department of Transportation for ODOT paving a portion of Experiment Farm Road. Personnel Committee reported on the mayor's recommendation of reappointments and an appointment to the City Beautification Committee, all of which were approved. Resolution number R34, 2026, advertised for bids for the Internet and telephone services for city facilities, first reading and adopted. Resolution number R35, 2026, estimating maximum amount of public funds to be awarded for deposits, authorizing bidding for deposits, first reading and adopted. Resolution number R36, 2026, cooperation and consent with ODOT for ODOT improving part of Experiment Farm Road, with the city paying a small portion, first reading and adopted. Ordinance number 028, 2026, final plat of reserves at Cliff Oak Subdivision Phase 3 to be accepted, first reading and adopted. There was a presentation by Habitat for Humanity related to the Rock the Block event. Then following various comments, council did adjourn at 8:30 p.m.
Move to accept the minutes?
Second.
Motion to accept minutes is by Mr. Whidden, second by Mr. Phillips. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Phillips,
Yes.
Mrs. Snee,
Yes.
Mr. Twist,
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall,
Yes.
Mr. Whidden,
Yes.
Ms. Hickman,
Yes.
Mr. Schilling,
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Thank you. We'll start our committee reports tonight with Community and Economic Development. Mrs. Snee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This committee met June 17th, 2026, to discuss modifying the provisions of Ordinance Number 019-2026, specifically the moratorium on new applications for zoning or occupancy permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations or service stations, and to consider exempting Mandeep Singh from the moratorium provision so he could submit an application for a gasoline station at the southeast corner of the intersection of South County Road 25A and Dye Mill Road. The committee also considered whether the existing moratorium should be extended an additional 90 days during the review of the Unified Development Code, UDC, by the Planning Commission and Council. Based on the advice of the Director of Law, the members of this committee do not support exempting Mandeep Singh from the provisions of the moratorium established by Ordinance Number 019-2026 regarding accepting new applications and the issuance of permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations. Thus, we are not recommending legislation be prepared in that regard. The members of this committee further believe that Council should not immediately repeal the moratorium on gas stations, but rather determine whether or not the moratoriums established by 019-2026 should be extended by an additional 90 days. So that Council can vote on that, this committee recommends that legislation be prepared to extend by an additional 90-day period commencing August 26, 2026, and running through November 27, 2026, moratoriums on 1, accepting new applications and the issuance of permits related to community-oriented residential social service facilities, and 2, accepting new applications and the issuance of permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations. And this is respectfully submitted by Ms. Hickman, Mr. Twist, and myself as chair.
Anyone have any questions?
Mr.
Hang on a minute. Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to say that understanding that we do keep a video recording of committee meetings, but understanding that this meeting on June 17th was a lengthy meeting with much information shared and statements made, without objection, I would like to request that we also keep a written transcript of this meeting along with the video recording and this summary committee report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Titterington, the conversation we had on the telephone earlier today about the UDC and the potential for the Planning Commission to be able to get through that, do you have a sense of how slowly, quickly that will be proceeding with the Planning Commission to get a recommendation back to us?
The Planning Commission has had 2 meetings to discuss the recommendations or the draft language. We have another meeting on this Wednesday to discuss further. The Planning Commission has advertised, or we've advertised on behalf of the Planning Commission, a public comment meeting you might have seen it on social media, for July 22nd, anticipating that either the 22nd or its following meeting 2 weeks later, the Planning Commission could have recommendations to bring to the council to begin your deliberations.
So potentially we may have this wrapped up before the end of August.
That's highly doubtful, because you would have 3 readings, at least 1 committee meeting. You'd also have the 30-day possibly plus, depending on when it falls, because it's a minimum of 30 days, We have to advertise in the newspaper. The newspaper does not get published every day, so we have to time it accordingly. So it's either 30 days or beyond before a public hearing by the council or conducted by the council president could be held. I don't believe that the end of August would be realistic. It is probably more closer to October, and then depending on when a third reading, a vote, and then of course 30 days for it to become effective. That's why it had been built in up to I guess the end of November for the 90-day extension.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have, thank you.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes, I have a couple of questions for Mr. Titterington, if you don't mind. I know we've talked about this before and made a determination that this moratorium on the gasoline stations didn't come about overnight. It was, we talked to various cities. We had to prepare the legislation. We had to check the Ohio Revised Codes. A lot of background work went into this before it was proposed to council. And one of my questions is that during all this time in meetings and everything else that was held on a staff level to discuss this, was it ever mentioned that, hey, we've been working with these people, the things for 2.5 years. Do you think we ought to call them and let them know that we're doing this? And again, I know Mr. Davis had eloquently explained that we don't have to wait till the bitter end on these working on the plans. I mean, they could have essentially submitted an application at the beginning of the process, the beginning of the 2.5 years, but they've just they didn't. And but did anybody ever say, hey, maybe we ought to call these people and say, hey, this is what we're doing. If you want to get an application and get it in now?
No, we did not.
Who made that decision not to call them?
I don't believe that anyone asked that question amongst the staff.
You're telling me you don't think anybody did, or you saying that definitely nobody brought that up in any conversation?
Honestly, I'm not understanding your question.
The question is that did somebody come up and say, hey, as we're discussing this moratorium to present to council, I think we ought. Didn't somebody on staff say, I think we ought to call the Sings and say, hey, this is what we're doing. You ought to get an application in before the moratorium goes into effect?
I would refer you back to the rather extensive, and it wasn't 2.5 years, it was much longer than that, calendar that we submitted to you quite a while ago, and you would see several stops and starts, several significant gaps in time, one of which was most recent as we got towards this moratorium. So I'm not sure that we had any reason to believe that it was still an active project at the time that we came to you for a moratorium.
Okay. In reviewing what was presented to me, I would think that this thing, I mean, there were some delays because of they had to get, I mean, there was a number of different things. They had to get approval by the state and everything else, and it took time to do that. But again, I mean, when somebody goes to the trouble of rezoning a lot and saying, hey, we're going to do something with this, and yeah, they bounced some ideas off the city and this type of thing to see whether it was acceptable or not, and that did take a lot of time. There's no doubt about that. But again, I think that when you look at the calendar that was submitted to us by them, it was I think they were doing the best they could to get the plans to us and in a satisfactory manner. And yeah, sometimes different things took a little bit of time, but to me, it just, again, I just can't imagine somebody I mean, even if it was 3 years, I don't care how long it was like, but man, we've been working with these people for 3 years, not 2.5 years, 3 years, 3.5 years, whatever it was. Wow, you think they might be interested in this thing to get a, I can't imagine that conversation ever came up.
Well, I guess we can agree to disagree, because you make it sound like we were working on the same preliminary design, the same draft plan, and what I would dispute that.
I didn't say that. I said they submitted a number of different ideas.
A number of different ideas, and
So
never landed
you
on
worked through
one.
those ideas to see which ones were most of the matter of zoning requirements and everything else, and yeah, so I mean, it took some time. I mean, they were looking for the best possible solution for their business, where they're gonna be investing $2.5 million and hiring, 15, 20 employees? I guess that's, what's the threshold on that, for the city of Troy to be interested in a project?
Well, there's no magic number. It depends on the use, and it depends on whether or not we wanted to pause it for looking at amendments to what the criteria are for that particular use. And I would remind you that the council not only passed the original moratorium, but extended it one time as well. So, it was done to pause while we went through the UDC process. That is an ongoing process, and that's why the request for extension one more time to get to the point where whatever is decided, whether it's the draft language, whether it's status quo, whether it's some kind of in-between, there is a time frame that has to be followed. Mm-hmm. Regrettably, the draft language was not able to be submitted as early as we had hoped to the Planning Commission. But again, now they are diligently reviewing that document. They will continue to do that as much as they need to get a coherent and comprehensive draft to the council just as soon as possible.
And I know that several people on councils have stated that had they known then what they know now about the things being in process with their plans, they would not have voted for the moratorium.
I can only tell you that I heard that from one. I don't know about several, but that's...
Okay, so thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You have any other comments?
And, oh, by the way, excuse me, Mr. President, I will be making offering an amendment on this.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Mrs. Westfall?
Thank you, Mr. President. To say that you had no idea that they were even still interested seems ridiculous to me, with as much communication as went through with our staff members. I feel very deceived by the process, that we weren't involved in how far along they were in the process, and that they had permits, and I think it's ridiculous. So, Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
I just also want to remind council that at the Community and Economic Development Committee meeting that we had to make the first extension of the moratorium, I did ask the question if there were several organizations, companies, people interested in this type of project. No one saw any of the public notices. No one took any interest in the fact that we had a moratorium to be discussed. So that leads me to believe that I just struggle to understand the level of interest in a project if you know you're working with a city and you're not actively following what that city is doing in relation to anything with zoning.
Mr. Whidden, Mrs. Marshall, Ms. Sickman, Mr. Twist.
Just as a point of order, the only thing that R29 would be voting on tonight is the extension to the moratorium. No, nothing else involved that was discussed at committee, just the extension, correct? That's all I have.
Yes. Just a technicality and curiosity, I'll ask the same question I asked Tim and Austin. If they would have filed an application and gave the fee at the first day, what would their status be right now? Would it be?
The first day?
Well, I mean, when you first contacted them instead of at the end, because they all admit they haven't,
If
they haven't given an application.
If they had submitted an application, a complete application, and paid the fee prior to the initial moratorium going into effect, then they would be grandfathered because they would have started the official process. And that, I will say, also is true of any moratorium. It's not just the, it
Well,
wasn't a
this is the
special,
one we're dealing with, yeah.
rule for this particular
No.
moratorium.
Anybody else? Alrighty, moving on to Recreation and Parks, Mr. Whidden.
Thank you, Mr. President. On January 29th, this committee met regarding increasing the authorization for the Troy Aquatic Park maintenance project in that bids exceeded the authorized amount. The detailed report discusses factors contributing to bids that were received. It is again noted that this project scope does not include any expansion to the TAP, but is only providing needed maintenance of facility that has been operating for 21 years. The Troy Recreation Board has recommended that Council increase the authorization for this project. It is the recommendation of this committee that legislation be prepared amending Resolution number R5-2026 to authorize the Director of Public Service and Safety to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Troy Aquatic Park maintenance project at a cost not to exceed $2.5 million. This is respectfully submitted by Mrs. Hickman, Ms. Westfall, and myself as chair.
Any questions, inquiry on that? All right, that leaves us a Committee of the Whole report, which I have, and I will read. Council President Rozelle and Council members Hickman, Marshall, Phillips, Schilling, Sievert, Snee, and Whidden met as a Committee of the Whole on June 24, 2026, to hear a presentation regarding the design options for the intersection improvements at West Main Street, Experiment Farm Road / South Stanfield Road. The meeting was chaired by the President. The consultant, American Structure Point Incorporated, provided a presentation attached to this report, recommending that the intersection improvement be a roundabout rather than improving the intersection and maintaining a signalized intersection to best meet the project purpose to improve safety and reduce congestion for the traveling public. The project construction cost would be similar, $4.279 million for the signal alternative and $4.298 for the roundabout alternative. However, the estimated annualization maintenance costs are considerably higher for a signalized intersection, and the service life is half that for a roundabout. No recommendation was made at this meeting. A meeting will be scheduled in the near future to provide a recommendation to Council. Questions or answers on that anybody was unable to make or thought of afterwards?
Submitted by,
Respectfully signed by Hickman, Schilling, Twist, Marshall, Westfall, Whidden, Snee, and Phillips. Sorry. Now, we have our citizens' comments.
is there a oral report this evening?
Oh, yes, we do. We have a personnel one. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. President. On June 30th, Mayor Oda requested immediate appointment of Mr. Paul Oberdorfer to the Community Improvement Corporation, also known as the CIC, as he is the new president of the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce and the CEO of the Troy Development Council. Mr. Oberdorfer will be replacing the current interim leader of these two organizations, Mr. Brindell. The term for the CIC will be effective immediately and will terminate on December 31st, 2026.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Is that to be assigned to a committee or is
It's
it?
personnel. It's personnel. It was-
Okay.
Was that an oral was that a motion though to approve that?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Motion by Ms.
motion to
Hickman,
approve.
second by Mr. Phillips.
Okay. Mrs. Snee,
Yes.
Mr. Twist,
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Now we're at citizen comments on any of the committee reports or any items on our agenda tonight. This time period will be 2 minutes. And come to the podium, name and address for the record. And hopefully Mr. Kerber can keep time.
Good evening. My name's
I'll try.
Rebecca Simpson. My address is 635 Main Street, Cincinnati, Ohio 45202. I'm with Finney Law Firm, and I represent Mandeep Singh and his company, Troy Station LLC, and I know you guys have heard from me several times. So thank you for the opportunity to comment again. We really do appreciate it. I just want to clarify a couple of things. One, Mr. Singh, I was not involved at the time, but Mr. Singh did not engage with regard to the moratorium originally because he'd been speaking with the city as late as December of 2025 about this project and was not given a heads up that there might be a moratorium, so he didn't know to engage. Prior to the extension of the moratorium, he did learn of it when he called to tell Austin in the development department, Austin Ida Miller, that he was going to move forward, and Austin informed him of the moratorium. That's when he engaged me. I was here at the April 13, 2026 Community Economic Development Committee, and I presented on behalf of Troy Station and Mr. Singh about the process, about the timeline. And I believe Mike Twist was here as well, who was one of his team members. And we asked at that time that the moratorium not be extended. And I have been to every relevant city council meeting and committee meeting since. I just want to make some, I'm not going to reiterate, everything I've already said. I just want to make some quick points. My first point is, yes, my client did not file the one-page online application. He asked several times, is anything else needed? He was never told anything else was needed. All the information on that form had been submitted to the city. Our position is that despite the fact that that had not been submitted to the city under both the zoning code and Ohio law, my client and his company qualify as having filed an application under Section 4 of the moratorium, and as such should have been exempted from it long ago by the administration. We understand that the administration interprets that differently and that City Council has no power over how it is interpreted.
Time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on any other topics or the same topic or? All right, we will move on to rest. Okay.
Matthew Ward, 9674 Coleraine Avenue. I'm going to finish up one of her things she was going to say is that Troy Station LLC is incurring significant damages because of this extended delay. And I also just want to mention that, if he was ever told that an online application existed, it would have been filed. It wasn't filed because you rely on the zoning administrator to direct you a lot of times, and when you're coming to a new city you haven't developed in before and what that process is, and he was relying on those communications. And within those communications, there was never an instance of anyone telling him such an online application existed. So that's the reason why it wasn't filed.
Who do you think should have told him that?
Well, I would have thought that the zoning administrator who was working with him in the process would have told him that, because there was a couple of communications where he said, the building department, the building permit is approved, is there anything else from zoning side before we're good to go? And there was only two things mentioned. That was a buster application and removing a billboard. Still, even at that point, when asking if there was anything else that zoning needed, even then they didn't even say to him that an online application existed.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the question. Was there another local company that Mr. Singh was working with that he was also receiving information from?
I can't speak to that. I wasn't involved in this process. I was at the end of it when I was getting ready to build it for him. Then I'm kind of finding out that it wasn't ready to go, and so I wasn't involved in the permitting process to speak to that.
I'll just add, Mr. President, that at our meeting, I believe there was an engineering firm, Choice One Engineering, that was also involved in this. That is a local Troy firm.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would absolutely dispute everything the speaker just said, and if you'd like, I can follow up with the staff but I can say with certainty that all along this process, the applicant and his representatives, be it Level MB or Choice One, were well aware that there is a formal application. They have done a lot of work here in the community, and they understand the procedure. And I know that the staff did talk to them about this, like any other applicant, that you need a formal application and you need you need to file the fee for it to begin the process.
So my question back to you then on their procedures is, does Level MB and Choice One always do the same procedures? Do they file the application first, or they file it at the end? Do you know?
They file it at the time that they're comfortable doing that, only because we do something that a lot of communities don't do, and that is that we work behind the scenes informally at the request of the applicant or his representative to allow them to, clean up any issues. We will comment on draft plans to make sure that they're complete. That helps the process get streamlined. That also helps the applicant, in most cases anyway, minimize their overall costs of design and engineering.
Mr. President.
Mr. Phillips.
My recollection of being president, when Choice One and Level MB were here, they acknowledged exactly what Mr. Titterington just said, but their usual process was holding off on filling the application and filing the fee, just as a matter of their doing business at the end. But they were fully aware that the application and fee must be paid for the application to be complete and the project to move forward with the completed set of plans.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And you have about 25 seconds if you got anything else.
I would just add to that, and there may be instances where Choice One does do that, or any engineering firm will file the application on behalf of the client. But in this one, I know Mandeep Singh was directly in contact with the zoning administrator, so this may have been a situation where the owner was going to file an application if necessary, because he was working directly with the zoning administrator. So. And he was never communicated that the application existed. Can't speak to what Choice One knows.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to resolutions. Mrs. Knight, could you please read Resolution R37, 2026, please?
Resolution number R37, 2026. Resolution adopting the budget of the City of Troy, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2027 and declaring an emergency. This is the annual tax budget prepared by the city auditor. This is the first reading.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion to suspend by Mr. Twist, second by Mr. Phillips. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snead?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Phillips, second by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snead?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Will you please read Resolution R38, 2026, please?
Resolution number R38, 2026. Resolution amending Resolution number R5, 2026, authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety of the City of Troy, Ohio, to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Troy Aquatic Park Maintenance Project. This increases the bidding authorization to $2.5 million. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion to suspend by Mr. Twist, second by Mrs. Snee. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westphal?
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mrs. Westphal, second by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, please call the roll.
Ms. Hickman?
Yes.
Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mrs. Snee?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Westphal?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to our ordinance tonight. Mrs. Knight, will you please read ordinance O-29, 2026?
Ordinance number O-29, 2026. An ordinance declaring a moratorium extension for a period of 90 days on the processing, issuance, and approval of new applications for community-oriented residential social service facilities, and on the processing, issuance, and approval of new applications for automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations in the city of Troy, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Mr. President,
Mr. Schilling?
yes, I'd like to make an amendment to ordinance O-29, offer an amendment to ordinance O-29, 2026. And then after I read the amendment, and if there's a second, then I'd like to have a little discussion on this as well.
I'm sure you will.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. In consultation with Mr. Kerber, he suggested that we read this into the record, the entire amendment ordinance, to the amendment to the ordinance O-29, 2026. So bear with me. An amended ordinance declaring a moratorium extension for a period of 90 days on the processing, issuance, and approval of the new applications for community-oriented residential social services facilities and terminating the moratorium established by ordinance number O-19, O-23 in the city of Troy, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas Troy City Council has authorized a comprehensive review and update of Chapter 11 and related sections of the codified ordinance of the city of Troy, Ohio, in an effort to modernize the city's zoning and signing codes, subdivision regulations, zoning code, and other planning and zoning-related matters into a unified development code, UDC, and whereas council previously adopted ordinance number O-25, 2025 on September 2nd, 2025, establishing a moratorium of 270 days through May 30th, 2026 on the acceptance, processing, issuance, and approval of new applications relating to community-oriented residential social service facilities, CORSSF, within the city of Troy, Ohio, so that related regulations may be incorporated into the Unified Development Code, UDC, and whereas council previously adopted ordinance number O-2, 2026 on January 20th, 2026, establishing a moratorium through May 30th, 2026 on the acceptance, processing, issuance, and approval of new zoning applications and zoning permits related to automobile fueling dispensing stations and automobile service stations as defined in ordinance number O-2, 2026, so that related regulations may be incorporated into the Unified Development Code, UDC, and whereas council previously adopted ordinance number O-19, 2026 on April 20th, 2026, establishing a moratorium through August 29th, 2026 on the acceptance, processing, issuance, and approval of new zoning applications and zoning permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations as defined in ordinance number O-2, 2026, so that related regulations may be incorporated in the Unified Development Code, UDC, and whereas council previously adopted ordinance number O-19, 2026 on April 20th, 26, establishing a moratorium through August 29th, 2026 on the processing, issuance, or approval of new applications for zoning or occupancy permits related to community-oriented residential social services facilities within the city of Troy, Ohio, except for those applications submitted prior to the establishment of the moratorium established by ordinance number 025-2025 to preserve the public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city of Troy, and whereas additional time is required to complete the comprehensive and legal review of the consultant's recommendations regarding the UDC to finalize recommendations of the Troy Planning Commission and the Council of the City of Troy, Ohio, and for the Troy Planning Commission and the Council of the City of Troy, Ohio to undertake and complete the required processes regarding potential changes to the city's ordinances, and whereas an additional moratorium period of 90 days is necessary to provide the time required for those reviews and processes for the community-oriented residential social service facilities, and whereas council no longer perceives a need for a moratorium on applications and zoning permits for automobile fuel dispensing status and automobile service stations, now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Troy, Ohio as follows. Section 1, that the council of the city of Troy, Ohio extends the moratorium established by ordinance number 019-2026 for an additional 90 days through November 27, 2026 on the processing, issuance, or approval of new applications for zoning or occupancy permits related to community-oriented residential social services facilities within the city of Troy, Ohio, except for those applications submitted prior to the establishment of the moratorium established by ordinance number 025-2025 to preserve the public peace, health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the city of Troy, Ohio. And under Section 2, that the Council of the City of Troy, Ohio terminates the moratorium established by ordinance number 019-2026 on the processing, issuance, or approval of new applications for zoning or occupancy permits related to automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations within the city of Troy, Ohio. Section 3, that the Council of the City of Troy, Ohio further finds that a moratorium for an additional 90 days for the community-oriented residential social service facilities reasonable and will allow for the comprehensive review and required processes. And under Section 4, that this ordinance is an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, and safety of the city of Troy, Ohio, and for the further reason that the moratorium extension need to commence August 29, 2026, and it is proper to immediately terminate the moratorium for automobile fuel dispensing stations and automobile service stations. Now, wherefore, this ordinance shall be effective immediately upon its adoption and approval by the mayor. I submit this amendment.
Mr. President, before you take a second on that, in the title I noticed that there was a scrivener's error where it referenced ordinance number 019, and then Mr. Schilling correctly read it, but it said 019-023. I believe it should be 019-2026, and I just want to confirm with Mr. Schilling that that's part of his motion.
That's
in the
part of my
title.
motion, absolutely,
Yep.
Mr. Kerber.
All
Thank
right.
you so much for correcting me on that.
And I'll second your motion.
So we now vote on the amendment, correct?
Discussion.
Or we just
We need discussion.
discuss it?
Because
Comments, Mrs. Snee.
Unless Mr. Schilling has further comments, I have a question, but I'll yield to Mr. Schilling. Any further comments?
No, he's-
Oh, I have comments, yes, I do.
I'll yield to Mr. Schilling.
Did you have comments first?
I have a question, but
If you would like to ask a question first.
I
that's
just
fine.
have a clarification question. The whereas statement right before section 1 has the word status when I believe it needs to be stations. In the very last line of that whereas statement, again, just
Dispensing
typographical
status
error.
and automobile service stations. Is that
Should
correct?
it be
Mr.
automobile
Kerber?
fuel dispensing stations? Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yes, it would
says
be
that-
stations, it would be stations.
Okay, I just, again, just pointing out and making sure.
Typo.
I just read it.
Correctly, and then I
didn't write
just-
it.
I have a question on the section 4. I just want to make sure I understand what this is actually stating. It says that this ordinance is an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, et cetera, and for the further reason that the moratorium extension need to commence August 29th. I'm not sure I understand that phrase. If you're asking that it be terminated, why is there a statement that it needs to commence?
Mr. Kerber?
Well, I believe that you want the moratorium to continue with respect to the community housing component.
So you're
That is
referring that moratorium
right.
commence and that the termination applies. Okay,
Yes.
just wanted to make sure I understood what that meant. Thank you.
Anybody else got questions before your comments? Go ahead, Mr. Schilling.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. President. Again, as we look at this, I know there's someone on council that say, well, you know, why do we need to terminate? We can just wait for we can not approve the legislation as written, and then everything will end on the 29th of August on 2026. And the question is, if you're willing to end everything in August, why not end it now? It's 6 weeks difference. And the 6 weeks would allow the Sings to start the construction of their, once they file a permit, it would allow them to start construction on their facility 6 weeks earlier, and it would allow them maybe to miss some of the problems with winter construction, and also having to maybe redo some of the permits that they had to acquire the first time. So that is why I feel it is important to terminate this thing now rather than wait until the end of August to do it. And so I'd ask you for your support on this to terminate this part of the ordinance now rather than wait until it expires in August. That's basically it. A motion.
Susan, second. Susan, second. Motion to adopt the ordinance by Mr. Schilling, second by Mrs. West.
To adopt the amendment to the ordinance?
Amendment. Yeah, the amendment.
Yeah, if there's no further comments, you'd be offering a vote on to make the amendment to it.
And may I make one further point of clarification to
Yes,
make sure I
ma'am.
understand? If this motion to amend does pass, it's my understanding that then the amended ordinance, can it be voted on tonight, or would it have to go to our next council meeting?
It could, the only way it could be voted on tonight if there was a suspension of the rules, which would require 7 affirmative votes. It's only, I think what you're referencing is if there's an amendment after the second reading, then it's carried over to the third, but this is the first reading. So if there was a suspension of the rules, there could be a vote if the amendment passes, there could be action on that if there was a passage of a suspension of the rules motion.
And then an amendment passed tonight takes effect when?
Well, if there...
I mean, ordinance, I'm sorry, I said the wrong word. An ordinance passed tonight.
It would take effect after, with it being an emergency motion, and again, this is all presupposing there'd be suspension of the rules and passage of it. It would be within the time frame that it goes to the mayor, and then she has 10 days to act upon it.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
Sal,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment. I just have to take exception with the accusation of city administration not letting council know what's going on. At this point in time, none of you have any idea what is in process at this point. Right? You have no idea what permits have been filed.
I would agree with that, except for their admittance that they haven't filed an application.
Right, but you have no idea what is going on in zoning and planning and what things are in process and who's meeting with zoning and planning staff. We meet in my office every week to go over what's happening, who's where, who's not. I have asked multiple times over the last couple of years, where are we with the gas station at the corner of Dye Mill Road? We're not hearing anything. There's nothing. They haven't turned anything in. It's been a while since we heard from them. There has not been an effort by this administration to not tell council anything. And I would suggest that council does not know at any given time what things are in process. And it's the same thing with this. We asked multiple times over those years, where are these people? We have not heard. And every once in a while there'd be an update. They turned something in. But we figured that they just were not in a rush to do this, and so they were on their own timetable. That's fine. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. So we are voting on the amendment. If anybody else doesn't have any other comments? Correct?
I'm
confused.
The ordinance first, and then if that, then
Yes,
there will
it's
be
just,
a separate,
yes.
if that gets amended, then there's a separate vote on the amended ordinance.
Yeah, well, or it goes to, yes, or if there's not enough vote, if there would be a vote on the amendment, assuming that the amendment passes, which I'm just doing it for example. If the amendment passes, then it would be ripe for a motion for suspension. If that doesn't pass, it would go to a second reading as an amended ordinance.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
Mr. Schilling?
Mr. Whidden.
Is this piece of legislation a result of your, Mr. Kerber's recommendation at the committee meeting that we couldn't pass a single exemption for Mr. Singh? So this is kind of your way of saying, well, I wish that could have happened, but we can't, so I want to go with an immediate termination of the moratorium? Is that kind of a result of that line of thinking?
Okay. This came, and that's a good question. I appreciate that, Mr. Whidden. And I'll try to answer that. I think that, you know, we have spent a lot of time on this, and you know, obviously, I think that, as I said before, I think there were some people on council said that had we known ahead of time, had we known then what we know now, that we wouldn't have voted for the moratorium. And I say that by essentially ending the moratorium, and again, I think Mr. Titterington brought up the fact that, and Mr. Kerber concurred on this, I think that if we try to carve out an exception for the Singhs, we'd open ourselves up to liability, right? I think we all agree on that. And so by simply ending the moratorium, we don't open ourselves up to the liability. And so I think this is the cleanest, effective way to do that. And again, as I say, in my own mind, and I've stated very forcefully that I think that we've harmed these people. And like I say, again, they've invested, to their numbers, over $700,000 in zoning and buying the property and all the requirements that they had to go through, and now their legal fees and everything else. You know, they're into like $700,000 to open up a convenience store and gas station in Troy, and that's, you know, it's a lot of money. And the problem is that as you look down the road, we've already seen the rough draft of our UDC, and there's no place for them in that rough draft. In other words, if they cannot put a 50,000 square foot building on their property, and is what's council going to do? I mean, are we going to amend that back down to a 1,500 square foot building for a gas station convenience store? I don't know. We don't know nobody on council has made any comments on that. You know, so if it goes through as written, they're just out of luck. They're out $700,000. And to me, it makes sense. Okay, I mean, we have 22 gas stations in the city of Troy now. They all work pretty well. I know every once in a while we have some problems, some weeds and things like that, but basically they all work well. They seem to be profitable. I mean, it's not like they close down. I mean, we have, those things are open the number of hours that they want to be open, and they're selling gas and Fritos and everything else that they sell in those places. And, you know, so again, we have been able to support 22, and certainly I would imagine the Sings had did some sort of a study saying, hey, I think City of Troy can support 23, right? You know, at least I'd hope so. And so, I mean, for a number of reasons, I think it makes sense to say, let's end this thing now, and then when the UDC code passes, or when we get that thing all squared away, you know, then we can deal with anybody who wants to come into the city with a gas station from that point on. But I think in this case, they've come a long way. They spent a lot of money. I think, and again, they're committed to, you know, they build this thing. It's another $2 million in construction. They're going to be hiring, I don't know, 15, 20 people to service a gas station and convenience store and a restaurant, and for at least serving food. And, you know, I think that's a good addition to City of Troy.
Mr. President.
Mrs. Snee?
If I could just point out, we originally passed the moratorium so that we could see how the proposed UDC would deal with this particular category of businesses. And so because we have a concern, just because the draft UDC proposes the statement it does about gas stations does not mean that that is what will be passed. We don't know exactly what we will finally approve related to gas stations, but we did say we wanted to look at these categories and have the UDC comment on that before we lifted this moratorium. I don't know if we even know for sure what would be finally proposed in this instance, because we've seen several different things be proposed over time. And then I'll reiterate what the mayor mentioned. We have no idea what other projects are out there that we may or may not think that we would want to have under whatever we eventually approve in the UDC related to these categories. So just ending the moratorium means that anything under our current code, which we may want to change, could be entered as an applicant. Even if we change it in the future, they're grandfathered in, and then we have no way to change it. So I just want to point that out, that there was a reason we started this moratorium, and I do agree that I am sorry that we have had to wait so long for the UDC to start through its process and wait for Planning Commission, but I do feel like it's moving along. It seems to me that if everything that moves along as we would expect, that we would have something prior to the end of the proposed extension to this moratorium, at which point it could be lifted. I would also point out to council that another option is to simply not approve the extension, and this moratorium would expire when it was originally scheduled to in August. I personally am not in favor of that, but that is certainly an option for council, but I cannot be in favor of ending it immediately. That's my comment.
Mr. President.
Mr. Phillips?
I'll agree with and concur with Mrs. Snee that we originally got into this primarily because of public comment about what a term was called excess gas stations, pizza parlors, and banks. And that's what the comments coming from the public were. However, the comments or the conversation about the UDC precipitated the public's input at that moment. So everyone on council was in agreement with that thinking, and thus voted for the moratorium at that time. So continuing it is probably in the most proper sequence of listening to the UDC of whatever the final language is.
Mr. Whidden?
I think that I'm personally very sympathetic to Mr. Singh's case. I wish it could have gone where we could carve out a special exemption because of how close to the goal line they were. I think there really are only two options, either extend it or this immediate measure. I think a half step of letting it run out in August is not a plan. But I also understand that while that we had a plan in place when we decided to do this, and I don't know if that has really changed necessarily. It certainly hasn't gone as fast as anyone here would want, and we all wish, I think we could have solved this long ago and put it to bed, and there wouldn't be any issue at all for this, but there is, and while we may be upset about it, I think it's important to continue on with the plan and not change a horse midstream, so that's kind of where I'm thinking on this.
Mr. President, if I may.
Mr. Phillips.
One last comment, I believe. I may be incorrect on this, but regardless of anything else, there's still the condition of the billboard on the property, which I'm thinking that I was told, or I may have interpreted, that regardless of anything else, with an application and fees being paid at this point, that until the November deadline of the billboard comes into conclusion, that the application would not be approved because of that particular outstanding issue. So you wouldn't have a complete application until November anyway. So that was my understanding. I may be wrong on that.
Well, I mean, any application would be considered on its whole, so it would go through the process, and whether or not it's approved would depend upon the process. But that could be a factor.
Thank you.
Mrs. Westphal.
I just wanted to say that the City of Troy has worked with Level MB, Choice One Engineering several times, and their common way of working with their clients is to wait till the end to put the permit in, and I feel like that's the process they were in. This gas station is about a mile outside of the downtown. I feel like it's a great location with the school going in. I don't know what we're afraid of. I really don't. I don't know what the fear of one more gas station is.
Mr. Rizzo? May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think there's a fear of one gas station. I think there's a fear of what could happen if we don't have our Unified Development Code stating what we want for gas stations. I personally am not in support of how it is currently written, that a gas station would have to be associated with a large use. I understand that other cities have done that, and I understand why they did that. But I do want to understand where gas stations can be located in the city of Troy before I just open it up to anybody to apply under the current
But we
zoning
know where
regulations.
this one was going to go.
We do, and we will, in my opinion, and what I would hope, is that our new UDC would still allow a gas station to go there. And if it does, that's fine, because I'm fine with a gas station there. I'm fine with the Sun Sky project. But I am not fine with just saying we're going to let this drop, open the door without even commenting on our new proposed UDC and stating what we want going forward for the city in regards to locations of gas stations, which is why the moratorium.
Gas stations?
Excuse me?
Do you think we'll have a run on gas station applications?
I don't think we'll have a run, but I think we could have a project that might want to locate somewhere that we're not aware of that I wouldn't be approved. I would just rather see a comprehensive proposal for where this particular use can be in the city of Troy, and then it would be stated for everyone to know.
And we don't know it's going to be done in November. We still don't know that for sure.
Well, that is true. We don't know it for sure, but I would hope with where we are in the process that we would be at a point where we would be approving this. To me, it should be approved by early October at the latest, and I'll just put that out there and hope that it is.
Mr. President.
Mr. Schilling.
Thank you. A couple of comments on the billboard, Mr. Phillips. My understanding is that, first of all, the billboard is not on their property.
Yes, it is.
Okay, in other words, it is on
Yes,
the city of Troy's property, and it's on Waco's property, but it's not on the property of the gas station. However, they have worked out an agreement.
That's, Mr. Schilling, I believe it's partially on the Troy's right of way and partially on the not the applicant, but the
That's
the
correct,
Sings.
yes.
Mhm.
The who's,
The applicant's property as well as the city's.
it is
It's not
on the,
Waco's property, it's on the applicant's property.
That's not the
as well as
applicant, the Mr. Singh's
The
company.
desired applicant, or the
Yes.
pre-applicant, whatever word we're using. It is not on Waco's property, it is shared between the property owner, in,
This
you know,
would be the
here,
Singhs.
as what, Mr. Singh and the city.
okay. But it is my understanding that they've reached an agreement with the billboard company that a billboard will come down in November.
No, he signed a lease extension through November 15th, I believe, after which then the company will remove it.
Yeah, that's what it says, coming down in November. November 15th is in the middle of November, I believe. Okay, and then the second thing we look at is that, again, we've got 22 gas stations in the city of Troy. They were all established under the current zoning codes. And I say again, is there any gas station that anybody would object to as to their location? I mean, in other words, I think that the zoning codes that we have now have worked well, and they will continue to work until they are amended or replaced by the UDC. And council, again, has the ability to change that. Whether they will or not is another question. Like I say again, but it would be conceivable that the things would be SOL as far as trying to put a gas station that wouldn't fit on their property. I mean, that is a very high likelihood. And again, so there's just a number of reasons why we need to terminate this thing now. I don't think we're going to get a run on gas stations, and even if we, I don't know what we'd consider a run on gas stations. But again, I see all the gas stations that we have. I don't think anybody on council says, well, this one's in the wrong place, right? I mean, we all know where all the gas stations are, and we can't say, well, this one's in the wrong place. I don't want this gas station where it is. I wish it hadn't located there. So, our current zoning codes, they seem to be working very well, and they will protect the citizens of Troy over the next 90 to 120 days to 180 days until the new zoning codes, the UDC, comes into being.
Mr. President, if I may.
Ms. Hickman.
I understand everybody's personal feelings on this subject, but at the end of the day, we need to keep in mind what our constituents want. The majority of the city of Troy is tired of gas stations. It's tired of having more land developed by gas stations, and gas stations do not employ that many people. At most, the Circle K at Tip City, because it's technically Tip City for those that don't know, across the street from Arbogast, has one, maybe two people in there at a time. And you think maybe 2 shifts, 3 shifts. There's not that many employees. We are in a fairly desperate need of jobs in this city. So we need to be aware of the little land that we have available for commercial use, and we need to be smart about how it's used. And I know I personally have a lot of constituents that do not want to see gas stations ending up in areas that don't need to have one. And so that is what I have to vote with tonight, is what my constituents are requesting of me. So I think we need to keep our personal thoughts and views, yes, but also listen to what your constituents are asking of you. Thank you.
Just a general question, since we have 2 planning commission members here. Have they covered this section in planning commission other than the original presentation? And have they adjusted?
No, we've not gotten into a discussion. I anticipate we would on Wednesday.
Okay.
Just one last point of order.
Mr. Whidden.
If we vote on this tonight, were you saying it will still need to come back?
Depends on what happens.
All right. If not, are we going to allow public comment on this one?
No, it's just...
if you vote on it tonight, it's voted on tonight.
You'll vote on the amendment is the first item, and then we'll take it from there as far as whether or not...
Depends on what happens with the amendment. Mrs. Marshall, anything?
This is messy. And I hate that we've been put in this position. I don't feel like this is... I don't feel like we're to blame for this. I'm very sympathetic. I do feel bad for them. I don't think that area that they are going to go into is a horrible area for them. I think that's fine. But I do think we need to stay consistent and do with what we originally thought was best for everybody.
Anything else?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So with the new ordinances, with all that coming through, we can't make any adjustments to that? So like if they present it to us,
Yeah, you absolutely can.
okay,
That's
because
the thing.
it sounds like we can't.
There's several things going on here, my head's spinning. So first of all, I would gently correct Mr. Schilling when he mentions a restaurant. There is no restaurant as part of the latest draft that we've seen.
Okay.
This is not a where can a gas station be located question that the UDC, at this point in the draft, is considering. It is more, what are the conditions around a gas station that would allow dispensing stations wherever they're legally allowed in the city. So it's uses, it's conditions, it's zoning districts. The zoning district, we're not contemplating changing that at all. That's not part of the draft. It is in this, the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission will make recommendations to you. I can tell you in the first two meetings, I wasn't at the first meeting, but the second meeting that we discussed 2 weeks ago, the Planning Commission already has changed language in the initial draft. That will come to you. If you change anything that the Planning Commission brings to you, there is a special threshold that you have to do to amend their recommendations. That's the only thing. You can change whatever you'd like, whichever way you'd like. You are not bound by the staff submittal or the Planning Commission recommendations when they come to you.
Mr. President, if I may.
Ms. Hickman.
So I have attended all of the Planning Commission meetings on this topic. All of council is invited to go and to make comments. They have received public comment at every one, and I already gave some of my input to the Planning Commission. So as Mrs. Snee is saying, if we are all working on this at the same time, there is no reason that this UDC should be drawn out through November. I'm with Mrs. Snee. I think this will be done by October. I don't see this being a big drawn-out battle of any kind. So.
Anything else, Chrissy?
No.
Jeff? Lynn? Are we ready to vote? We had a motion by Mr. Schilling, and we had a second by Mrs. Westfall for the amendment to the resolution. What are we on? Resolution R or whatever?
This is an ordinance.
Ordinance, I'm sorry, ordinance, not resolution, ordinance 02926. Mrs. Knight,
Okay.
please call the roll.
Okay, this is the vote on the motion to amend the ordinance. Mr. Schilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Marshall?
No.
Mr. Phillips?
No.
Mrs. Snee?
No.
Mr. Twist?
No.
Mrs. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Whidden?
No.
Ms. Hickman?
No.
Motion fails.
Motion failed adoption.
Thank you.
All righty, so then we're back to the original legislation?
Right.
Yes, it's now the original legislation's in front of you. If there's no further motions, it'll go to second reading. You could also entertain a motion to suspend, but that, of course, would require 7 votes. Affirmative votes.
Mr. President, I'll just ask that it go to a second reading.
That'd be fine. We will do that, and Mr. Siebert will be back then. So that will go to the second reading.
Maybe.
That concludes lengthy business. Now we are going to have a presentation by former council member and National Night Out head honcho, Thomas Kirkham.
I remember when I was on council back in the day, running the situations like you guys are running into. Very interesting, you know. Sometimes it can be awful frustrating, right?
Didn't have as much fun as we had, right?
That's right. For you that don't know me, first thing I want to say is thank you for inviting us. My name is Tom Kirkham. I'm the chairman of the National Night Out Program for the county. It's actually now a county event. It has been a county event for a long time. My big question is, of all of you, how many of you know already all about the National Night or have been there in the past?
Yes, many.
Wow, that's amazing. Bring your children, I hope. Okay. Then you're familiar with the National Night Out. It's basically a heightened crime and drug prevention awareness. We have actually taken this to a couple more levels up, and that is by going county with the county. And this year in 2026, of course, you know we have food vendors there. We've got all the military coming. We actually have all the VA organizations coming. We have all the county agencies that are coming this year. We actually also have all the police departments and all the fire departments. And we have right now 17 food vendors, which is the most. And I retired, and then my co-chair, Becky Cheney, right behind me here, she was also there at the time. We did this for 10 years, and then I retired. We also are going to have approximately 90 vendors there, organizations. That's the largest we've ever had. It was actually 59, I believe, at the last time that we actually had this event. It's on August 4th from 5 to 7. We're also going to have demonstrations, drone demonstrations. There's 3 cities or police departments that are actually going to be doing drones. So you'll be seeing them flying around the whole evening. And we're also going to use those speakers on the drones to announce the demonstrations, which is going to be interesting. The county gave us a demonstration about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm a former sworn auxiliary officer of over 20 years. Becky also spent over 16 years on the department. And it was amazing to see what they could do with those. We're going to have canine demonstrations. Also, the canine search and rescue team is going to have demonstrations this year for the first time. And RADS is also going to be there. And we're going to have taser demonstrations. Anybody would like to be tasered? I'm looking for volunteers. But anyway, yes, this is going to be a very large event, bigger than you've ever seen before. And hopefully you will all come. I gave some flyers to Sue over here, and she will be passing them out to you. Oh, you've already got them? Oh, that was quick. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
Anyway, does anybody have any questions, since most of you have already been to the event and kind of know what it's all about?
Where's the event going to be, Tom?
It's going to be in the Troy City Park. Again. Yes, sir.
No, go ahead, you were going to finish your comment, I'm sorry.
Pardon?
You were going to say something else?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but we have 17 food vendors, you said?
Approximately, yes.
And they've all submitted police background reports for all their employees that work in the food truck?
And their permits?
We have no food trucks.
Pardon?
We have no food trucks, and all this food is free. This whole event is free to the public.
Oh, okay, I thought you said food vendors would be food trucks.
Well, we have Outback, we're the restaurants.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine.
So they don't need it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I've already been to the health department with this thing, and they said, well, if it's all free, we don't need to come. We said, that's great.
I would like to state I'm very happy to see this as a big event. I know last year a lot of people in my neighborhood were talking about it, and so I think they will be very happy to see
What
this
we're
big event back.
trying to do here, and the reason why we took it up to 2 levels, more than what it is, just being within the neighborhoods, is because we're bringing all the police departments, fire departments, and we're also going to have children's games there, by the way. I mean, we have several people who are bringing children's games. And this is not only for the children, but it's for the county and all the people within the county coming together as one, okay, to try to help fight crime. If you have anybody out there, we're going to have victim witness, mental health, all those agencies. And I'll share one thing with you real quick. I had a woman come to me whenever I was doing this for 10 years, and she sought me out at the event. And she looked at me and she said, you know, you saved my son's life. And I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? She said, well, he lives in Colorado, and he was suicidal. And so I went to couple of the agencies like mental health and also social services or whatever, talked to them about her son. And they gave her some flyers and everything and told her exactly who he needed to see out there. She sent the flyers out. He went through the process, never committed suicide. Now, how many people that we don't know that, you know, went to our event and didn't do that? Also, the children, how many children have actually gone and talked to a police officer instead of them coming out in the neighborhood for 5 or 10 minutes and saying, no, I got to go to the next one, you know, have actually turned around and it got into trouble. And one of the reasons why what happened was Duchek, Sheriff Duchek, he seen me last August out at the county fairgrounds in the emergency building, and he looked at me and he said, Tom, he said, we've been just talking about you. And I said, uh-oh, what are you talking about? And he told me that the SROs were having a lot of problems with kids in schools. So he said, I want you to come to the Chiefs meeting next Wednesday. And this is Thursday. And I'm thinking, how am I going to brief this? So I went back into my computer, and I still had everything from 2005, believe it or not. So I went to the meeting, briefed the chiefs for the whole county, and they said, let's get it done. We are also 501(c) under Troy Foundation, and we actually do this event with donations. And this year we've got quite a bit of money in, which is going to be nice. So, and another thing we had, I guess the police department several years ago, we had all of our signs and everything that you've all seen there, you know, at the event, was destroyed because of a flood years ago. So we had to buy everything over again. Well, when I went to Sean up in Piqua, who makes the signs, Piqua Signs, I said something to Sean about. He went back out and pulled out his file. He still had everything from when we did it before. You know, all that. Went to Stan Kegley, talked to him about, because he helps us a lot. And he pulled out his files. He still had everything. Becky still had all her stuff. So we got very lucky, and you know, because we have to start this all over again, to have this happen. And to me, God has been with us in this process, and it's been very nice. Everybody has been very, very nice to us. It's almost like, you know as well as I do, and this is what I see. You have the county and you have the cities, right? And a lot of times there's a lot of friction there, right, within the counties and the cities. Because of this event, for some reason, there is no friction. Everybody is doing everything that they can to help us with this event, and we really appreciate it. We really do. It really helps me. And we, and myself and Becky, and the other people that we're working with, I don't really live in Troy anymore. I RV full-time. Spent 6 months in Florida. Me and Becky all winter was going back and forth, you know, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And we are planning on doing this. I'm planning on doing this, let's put it this way, year after year after year. I'm 79 years old. Don't know how much longer I have. But you know what? If I can save a life or kids and turn some kids around from, you know, not going in the wrong direction, I think that my life is well worth. Any other questions?
Mr. Phillips.
If I may, Tom, thank you very much for taking this load back on. I did this for 4 years at my previous department before I retired, so I know what a huge project this is. But thank you and Becky for taking this back on and bringing it back to the city. Appreciate it.
We're trying.
Actually, to the county.
We're spending 4 or 5 days a week working on this during the day up here, visiting. We visit everybody. We talk to everybody. We actually go out there and touch them. To try to do an email or try to do a text, forget it. That doesn't work. So we're actually touching everybody. And then at night, we go home, and we're still doing National Night Out because she's doing all the spreadsheets and all this other stuff. And on weekends, we're doing it on the weekends.
So we are doing it almost 7 days a week, which is fine. We did take this last weekend off a little bit, because of the 4th of July. But, we're very passionate about this. But, in the future, if you know of anybody that can be as passionate as we are, we'll be glad to train them. and let them help us out. So, that's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks for coming.
And I hope to see you all there.
Mrs. Roeder has 5 Leadership Troy people with her tonight, I understand.
Well, we're down to 2.
2? Down to 2. You get extra points for staying?
I'm Melissa Goode, I'm with NCTUO. Hi, I'm Deborah Turner, and I'm the Director of Student Services for Troy City Schools.
Okay. Thanks for coming. You picked an interesting one. Anyone else want to talk about anything?
We haven't done.
We haven't done that. Oh, yeah, that's true. We're out of order anyway. I don't have to start with Siebert. He's not here. We'll start with Twiff.
You
Now
haven't-
it's Mayor first. We're going to go around this way. We're going to shake it all up tonight.
Okay.
I have nothing, Bill. Skip me.
Then we'll go to strike 2, Mr. Kerber.
Oh. Well, I might have to come up with something to say now.
Strike 3 already left.
No, I have no comments. Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. President.
We'll get to you.
You can just
You're
go back
last.
to
We're going
Morgan.
alphabetical.
I would just thank you to the city for the fireworks. My kids totally enjoyed them, but all those that were involved and spent the time and all of that, it was very good. So thank the city staff for their hard work.
Mr. Phillips.
Nothing except a comment on the fireworks. When my wife and I came through the town last night, I was really amazed at the mass of people at the water plant in that neighborhood back there, because I had to drive through it. It was fantastic to see. I mean, we've always been at Treasure Island or on the bridge watching the fireworks, but the mass of humanity over there was just outstanding. But it was a great show and that sort of thing. So thanks for all the efforts to put that together. That was great.
Ms. Hickman.
I would also like to thank city staff and those who worked with the fireworks. I'm lucky I get to watch them from my house, although I would like to request some trees be trimmed for a better view.
Talk to the park board.
Yeah. But I did have somebody reach out and ask about the issue with like the manhole covers that were on Walnut, I believe, last week or the week before. There was a big issue by the fire station. We all lost, almost the whole city lost power. People were just asking what that was about.
That was,
I forget, was that last week or the week before?
yeah, I want to say it was at least a week and a half.
Yeah.
Didn't get confirmation, but heard that it was a transformer, an underground transformer
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Whitney.
I want to thank all the members of the public who came out tonight. If you are a regular, thank you for coming again. If this is your first time, please come back. We have better meetings when the public is here. Thank you.
Mrs. Marshall.
I would like to also thank everybody who worked with the fireworks. They were amazing. We love them. Congratulations to our new firefighter, and congratulations to crew in IT. He's helped me a million times, and I'm grateful for him. So also I would like to put out there to remind the public, you are not allowed to cut through the park, the city park, right now while they're building the roundabout. I think there's been a lot of people that have been going through there, and I just want to reiterate that you are not allowed to do that. That's it.
Mr. Schilling.
I have nothing else at this time.
Long before the fireworks, there was a fantastic parade, so the organizers of the parade should be thanked immensely. It's great that they do it. You just stand out there early and the effort they have to put together, as Tom's doing for the National Night Out, to contact the people, get them committed, get them there, get them in some semblance of order. I think the kids liked everything because somebody in the car in front of us was heaving candy left and right. Sometimes she made it to the curb.
I read that's her goal.
She did get one lady in the throat with a box of dots, but other than that, wasn't bad. And in addition to that, Mr. Brendel, for continuing to come to our meetings during your interim period and your selection of the new president. Appreciate that. You're so welcome to come and put your 2 cents in. Other than that, Mrs. Westfall.
I just have a couple of things. I wanted to thank everybody. I thought the 4th of July, the parade, the concert, the fireworks were awesome. Great job on that. I also want to thank the cemetery staff. I have a friend, and she has a friend who spends some quiet time with a lost loved one and reads books, and the mowers stopped mowing until she was finished. And the other lady said that she's, been out there talking where they've stopped mowing to allow them to have quiet time, and I commend them for that. I think that's fantastic of the cemetery workers. I also want to invite everyone to the courthouse on Wednesday. At 6 o'clock across the country, they're going to be reading the Declaration of Independence, and there's going to be some music and people in costumes and tours of the courthouse renovations. So come out, it's all free. It's just something to help celebrate America 250.
Mrs. Snee.
And just to add on to that, I believe the event with food trucks and things starts at 5 o'clock Wednesday night.
5:30.
And then
Yeah,
the
they'll
reading
be,
at 6. Yeah, that's...
And you'll love to hear that Main Street's shut down for 3 hours. You're notified early, so we shouldn't hear any complaints.
No, we will.
Also, just to say a big thank you for everyone, county and other people who have planned the things around this event. Thank you to the National Night Out planners. I know that is a lot of work, and we appreciate anyone, including Leadership Troy, and the planning that goes into that improves our community. So thank you for everything you do, and thank you for being here.
City Safety Director, Mr. Titterington.
So, Mr. President, I will start by saying that you probably want to rethink having me go last, because left to my own devices, I'm just going to keep writing item
you had
after
a
item
tutor?
after item.
You had a tutor?
So, my mentor. So I have 10 items now.
No problem.
Number one, just to piggyback on Councilwoman Marshall's remarks, yes, we are having somewhat of an issue with folks thinking that there is a direct connection through Community Park.
Not anymore.
There is not, but I would add to that lest we get calls and complaints, there is a zero tolerance policy, and we do want to make sure that people don't do that, since it is very close to for a variety of reasons, but one of which is we have a very active playground, as well as some sporting activities, including Frisbee golf, tennis, the like. Number two, you did mention that we are, at the request of the Miami County Commission, going to close West Main Street. I don't want to trigger anybody, so we did start getting it out there last week. Just make sure everyone knows it's a very simple,
loop around
to get around, and hopefully the 3 hours will pass very quickly. And I lied about the other 8. I am done.
And the only last comment I have, I'm sure Troy fireworks were fantastic. They've got Piqua beat to death. I did my penance, and I stayed in Piqua and watched them because we were visiting ex-relatives and some classmates. But hands down, there's no comparison of what we do versus what they displayed.
All right.
Other than that, we have a meeting in 2 weeks. It's adjourned tonight?
Did you have
It is
any
tonight.
Oh,
announcements?
crap, we'll get there. Anybody in the public want to talk? Brad, you talking? Steve? Gas station people? Leadership Troy? Chamber of Commerce? Staff? So we are adjourned.